kind of shared Los Leones in the northern part of it.
P1E down to the south as well as
Right.
that. So Envy making a conscious decision to come kind of stretching a bit further west over the north side of Leonis is obviously it's a bit more of aggressive positioning early game, which again, for being as consistent as they have been, they can afford to make these small changes to try and capitalize more on early game kill points and things like that.
And that pressure that comes out in the early game. We do have Envy and E United fighting for the tops of those leaderboard positions and really want to make sure that they secure as many PGC points as they can. Envy being a little bit more aggressive with territory control could really make it to where E United's early game gets shaken up a little bit, and those early shakeups can lead to late game catastrophes.
I mean, yes, throwing another team off early game, it changes off the rotations that they rehearse in scrims and also in these live games. They know what tends to be safe and which pathing is best coming out of the drop spot cities. But you're absolutely right. That small change of rotations can add 30 seconds to what they would typically expect to do. So it's going to be interesting to see if Envy try and do the same thing and mess with them.
And here's an interesting thing to note. We talked about Riot Squad and how they don't get the prime territories towards the center of the map a lot of the other teams get. They're already looting back down towards the southwest over there, where still multiple teams are still in the air. And oh man, new circle pops. Los Leones due up in the center, and Envy and E United both kind of, I guess, very lackadaisically making
also,
their way towards.
I was going to say also P1E.
Yeah.
P1E opted not to stretch across. They obviously dropped down onto this road that kind of leads into the southwest corner, but E United probably going to take their warehouse spot over on the west side. Envy looking like they're going to try and get back up to their north side. We do have Lampalot and one other of P1E coming into the south side as well, so they need to be aware of this.
No, Envy actually stopped pretty early inside of this and are very western in comparison. We do have Tempo Storm that's making their long rotation. They found themselves a nice little buggy, but they are all the way across the map from Impala, where they tend to loot at.
I was going to say a ways away from Impala, so again, probably going to look to try and wrap down the south coast, which we see them do a lot of times on western circles when they drop on the east side. This time dropping on the west and obviously a bit further east of a pop. So probably going to see them, do some scatter looting around the south coast and make their way slowly towards.
Tempo scatter looting?
I know, crazy.
Never.
Right? That's big mix up.
That's like you're telling me that I don't know Genesis is just going to drop in Picado or something.
Wow, okay. I guess I won't go there again.
I'm just picking on you a little bit, but it is 100% true. But one thing to note, and what you were alluding to is, before I don't know, picked on you a touch there, is that Tempo Storm never really varies from their drop locations. They will commit to it. They will find a vehicle and still drive back over there. This is probably one of the few times we will actually see them have a mixed drop location.
Again, the plane absolutely terrible for Impala. So, being the first team off the plane, regardless of if it's an audible drop, it still gives you a much bigger opportunity to kind of recover from that, because you're first down, you can get vehicles. If you do want to return to somewhere that's off plane path in terms of loot location, which Impala is, they do have the option to do that as well.
One stack point that also feeds into that, this is Riot Squad making a modification and Tempo Storm making a modification that could limit the amount of vehicles that are in that part of the circle. So we do have Envy that's, you can see, separated out quite heavily across the northern part of Los Leones, separating all the way over towards the edge of it and forcing E United to funnel back down closer towards Player One Esports.
Yeah, and the problem with the United's drop spot is that in these warehouses, obviously, they don't get a vehicle. The vehicles are much farther south than where they drop. So if Envy wanted to set up and kind of control the open space, I mean, if Zampa sees this, they're going to be coming along the south side.
Oh, it's double drop out in the ocean. This is just feels bad, man. Nobody's going to be able to go for that one. Although, I don't know, we might see somebody hop inside of a boat. We saw somebody in a boat in Sandhawk, so maybe it'll happen on Miramar.
If there's two players in the MPO, I would put money on doing it. It would be Sharky and Zampa, to be fair.
And look, there's two crates there.
Yeah.
Perfect opportunity. Now they don't have to fight over it.
But yeah, just coming back to the Envy United situation, United's drop spot on the west side of Leonis, it's difficult for them to kind of get their first rotation going if Envy decide to set something up. So what I'm actually seeing on the map right now, P1E actually looking like they're getting back into the south side. They've actually kind of split up a United here with Envy in Leonis, and we actually already have Genesis rotating in just out of camera shot right now, coming into Leonis as well. So again, early rotation coming out from Genesis. This is going to be all 4 teams pretty much committing to the west side of Leonis.
Something to note, we did see Taylor J there for just a second over next to Envy, but look on the map. Player One Esports has kind of cut a path in between him and the rest of his team. With Genesis coming on the other side of this could really bottle Taylor J. He's got a cliff on one side and then 3 teams surrounding him, and he's already been spotted out. Moody is getting pretty aggressive towards this. You can see shots are going to come through. It feels like everybody's calling back like, no, don't overextend onto that one, but he wanted it.
You can tell how much Moody
he's like,
wanted to fold down there and go and kill Taylor J, but Taylor J actually opted to take the vehicle out. So again, open terrain here. If they're set up, they could put a lot of damage onto his vehicle.
But look, Genesis is already along their path. Player One Esports has done a little bit of a reposition, but you can hear the shots off into the distance. Taylor J is trying to make the push back over towards here, but grenades. This is a Hail Mary grenade if I ever saw one, but hope and a dream. You never know, he might connect with it. But Taylor J having to move back up towards the north and can't make it to his friends down in the south.
Yeah, and this is the problem. When you stay this split during your loot phase, other teams rotating in, especially if your drop spot is center circle, such as Leonis is in this game, you can't be wasting this much time in the loot phase to regroup.
And again, the benefits of those early rotations coming out from Genesis. Shots do come out from United to get a little bit more control over this territory. Going to go after Player One Esports Aguila. He does go down and get flushed, and United's going to continue putting a little bit of pressure, but you can see Lampalot in a position just to the north of Stab. So while Taylor J is still out on the road, United is forcing Player One Esports a little bit away. Not all of their members, but just getting a little bit more control of the territory around them, but it's a loose control, I would say.
Well, it was Dietrich and Aguila that were split off to the south. So we had David and Lampalot obviously on the south side of Leonis, much further north than their teammates, which was what was going to cause a problem for you. Can actually see Taylor J's vehicle getting absolutely lit here.
Rumblers take him down, and Taylor J manages to make it away from Envy, but cannot make it through the follow-up 2 teams. And Dimick taking a couple of shots at Riot Squad's later as he's making his way up the hill. Protege's actually stopped right back behind them, so cut post up. It's all right, Leda. It got you where you needed to be. It doesn't matter. It's fine now. So Leda going for a little bit of a reposition. Protege playing along the other side of that hill, catching a little bit of airtime, but he should be safe. Early aggression coming out from Endemic. This is something they tend to play a little bit more passive. Sure, they'll take the shots at people that rotate towards them, but that was a little bit more forceful than I've seen from Endemic so far, and I like it. Like, have a little bit more trust in your gun power and your aim.
I mean, again, I called them out game 1 today where, you know, they sat very passively in a center compound, didn't pick up a lot of kill points, but come the end of the game, they actually picked up like 8 or 9. So,
yeah,
again, I like this early game aggression where they kind of, again, they've set up in a compound, it's high traffic, looking for these teams looking to wrap into the south side of the circle.
Well, we do have Vanquish out in the blue, Space Station Gaming just a little bit ahead of them, as well as Wildcard. Tempo Storm making their way up this hillside, and Player One Esports, after they got pushed away, a little bit of a stabs damage coming out their way, is going to force them up that hillside. So a lot of people playing back down towards the southern part, well, actually just south of Los Leones right now. And it's getting pretty complicated to move through that part of the map.
It is, yeah. And when we see a lot of teams commit to, and Leonis is a bad example for this because it's such a big city. Again, it's dead center, and lots of teams want to say, look, we want to position close to Leonis. We're not going to commit to going, you know, center city in the first circle, but you get so many teams kind of set up on the outside, just defending the center of it.
Fozu taking the more scenic route into the safe zone right now, just enjoying the vistas and all the mesas that are around. See, no big rush. He sees a team in front of him that would be Space Station Gaming, but in no hurry to get towards that safe zone at all.
I mean, it's actually, yeah, Fozu's a bit further out. It's SSG are further off to the west of them, but J-Sang lucky not to get caught out there by, I think it was Tetra and Reno. They actually looked to stop and pressure this rotation. So again, lucky timing for J-Sang, but SSG slowly making their way into, just going to come into the northeast side of this circle. And actually, as you can see on the picture-in-picture, they're going to have a good opportunity to come south if this next circle comes down.
Well, almost everybody is playing in the suburbs of Los Leones, and further hard shift back down towards the south. Half of Los Leones gets cut out of the circle. Oh, no. No. I saw the vehicle flip over. Did he get it back up? Okay, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, throw a couple of breaks. Yeah. That's Morse code, letting everybody know he's fine.
But yeah, SSG, the problem now, Valier is still pushing ahead, and you can see here with Wildcard that Valier is pretty much about to run into, and actually, I just saw on the map there, he's pulled off to the left side of the road. Again, this is the thing with SSG rotating like this, they haven't got an opportunity to kind of pull up on anywhere. If you spot somebody else in rotation, you have to stop, change your coursing because they're so split.
Well, it's going to be fairly interesting to watch a lot of these rotations. Look at Zenith. Look at Wildcard. Space Station Gaming back behind that. Vanquish is still coming through. Not a lot of territory in the safe zone.
And actually, if you look at a direct line in, Ghost are holding just inside the circle on that spot as well. So you're going to have 4 teams fighting for an edge spot because they have no information on the compounds on that side of the circle.
A lot of the teams are playing a little bit closer. Waldo's getting a spray back over towards Wooly. Lots of damage come through, and Rumblers, nice shots coming through to take down one of the members of Sonics in rotation.
Waldo softening him up there for loss. Unfortunately, Wooly, of all the players on Sonics, to get picked out early there, but looks like Sonics are going to get away with the rest of their players, but their vehicles aren't going to be in good shape after this.
Well, Sonics makes it through the first barrage, but remember, Endemic is also around the similar spot. Tickleton's running through here. He's going to connect right into that pole. And now, Tickleton, you got your work cut out for you. Endemic, I think, might be trying to go for a reposition. Nah, they know. The grenades are starting to come out off of this. The rest of Sonics, they're just going to have to commit to this. I think that this is just a call you have to do now. They already lost one member. They're losing a vehicle. Tig's in a difficult spot. They've just got to try to get something out of this.
Yeah, I mean, they can't stay here on this road. They need to move further south if they want to play a spot, but that takes them further away from the center of the circle. So, I mean, I wanted to see them commit there if that was a decision, because they're going to lose a vehicle for it.
And they're going to lose Tig for it. And I mean, he can walk on foot, but Rumblers, I mean, they had good aim already to knock down one of the Sonics in rotation. That was in a vehicle. Now Tig is just going to have to walk his way over there. But keep in mind, it is Tickleton. It's not necessarily a guy you want to take shots back at.
No. And Envy here, we see them set up again, very, very far towards the northeast edge here. They're just kind of looking for transition kills. Teams looking to wrap over. Again, this terrain, great if you want to stop up. You've got a lot of ridges to peak, but I'd like to see them try and move a bit further towards P1E's spot, which is obviously closer towards center. There's another really good opportunity for them to play the hill. And obviously Ghost and Zenith set up to the south of this. It kind of cuts off a lot of options for Envy.
You did notice inside the kill feed that Space Station Gaming finally did bump into Vanquish, with Space Station Gaming getting quite a few kills out of it. Still out inside the blue, so they're going to make their way along the, I guess, did we decide to call that Highway 1 over there, just right along the coast? It's got like a million names for it.
The PCA.
Rumblers Los does manage to hit a shot onto Tickleton, and he gets flushed out.
So he was running for his vehicle.
Oh.
That was where his vehicle rolled off to.
Oh my God, that feels bad. All right, so Tig is now down. 2 members of Sonics remaining.
3 kills for loss, 12 minutes into the game. This is the phase 2 loss we've wanted to see for the last 3 weeks now. So good to see him be really active in the early game here. Rumblers, you know, they're kind of leapfrogging these compounds, just looking for kills, and they're picking them up.
So we do have Space Station Gaming about to make their way into the safe zone. Finally going to not have a blue haze over their screen. I should note that Vanquish still has Finna alive, but he is about 2 kilometers away from the safe zone as the circle has popped. Wildcard is on their move, just moving around the outskirts of Los Leones right now, and it's going to be Wildcard that has the high ground above him, so it's like he's just trying to gun it up that hill. I don't think that's going to work, but Envy taking a couple of pot shots on the other side.
Yeah, we do actually see Envy looking as if they're trying to reinforce this position and hold Wildcard out. Wildcard actually getting an opening up. Penta with a canine onto Interrogate, so this could open something up. Oh, David stealing that one away with the mini.
Oh, man. I mean, it feels like Penta is getting a lot of very important introductory knocks inside of these skirmishes, but then we just don't see Wildcard have the capabilities to... I mean, it's not about a skill thing, it's just about positioning. They just can't get anything out of it after they get the knock, and it just keeps getting taken away from them. But do note, Pat is already up on that hillside, so with all the aggro coming back down to these other members, Pat might be able to move into a very aggressive position, but he is spotted out.
That nade could be good, though, actually. Well, Kendo getting an open knock onto McCoy. Drassel trading that one out. I'm not sure what Kendo's doing there, but he was just lying wait, split from his team, trying to pick up some free kill points, I guess.
He was tailed back behind the rest of them. Ghost still not made their way into the safe zone, but the other members of Zenith have. So Wildcard still playing up towards the top. You can see Pat's medding up right now as Pistola Time looks like he's still on the hunt.
I mean, Envy right now, again, prior to Moody opting to come down, actually, we jump back onto Zenith and P1E. P1E manages to crash into Zenith's compound. This was the other side of the split. Obviously, Ghost way far away from this to the north, but Lampalot getting some good damage onto Patron. P1E right now should look to regress this.
Not a lot of downs. We do see that Zenith has the high ground position. Roth is holding it down. It's going to be 3 members of Player One Esports trying to figure out how they make the push in. And that happens whenever you're this early inside of a skirmish and you crash a complex, you assume that there's 4 members in this spot. So they don't know that it's the 3v3, and that's why they're playing this a little bit more safe. You'd think with the aggression that Player One Esports brought into this, they would just continue it, but they're perfectly fine putting on the brakes.
And especially today. The only reason I say I want to see them push in because P1E, again, they've already demonstrated what they could do in phase 2 and started doing that again today. So I want to see them take this team fight clean.
They have had a phenomenal day so far, and it's Zenith that's just up on the hilltop from him. And Zenith already getting a little bit more of a reposition, but you can see it's getting a little bit messy on another part of the circle as we have E United and Genesis already in a little bit of a skirmish, but Lazarus also looking in this direction. Genesis got firm grip on that long building. Balefrost, it feels like he's just trying to get a little bit more damage control, throwing out the smokes, just trying to get a little bit more space. Looks like Stab's got an angle that he might be able to provide a little bit of support, but not a lot. Actually, I say that as Genesis walks right up to the complex, and that's going to be Profi getting dropped.
Stab with a great spray there. Actually, Uncivil stealing that one away from a distance with a Mini 14, but great 4x spray from Stab there to get Profi down. Actually, I think Balefrost was trying to pull out there. It looks like Balefrost was actually stopped. I know he's boosting up right now.
Uh-oh, looks like we have a party that's going to be happening over here. As Player One Esports, while they did manage to get a position, they're going to have Envy that comes up and looks like they want that same complex. Good spray coming out from Moody is going to get an early knock onto it, and now it is just Lampalot. He is the last guy alive in this position while the rest of Envy is still making their way over here.
Yeah, this circle shift going way far over to the west means that all these teams now are in a position where, look, there's kill points here. We need to take it. We're not in a good position to reposition into the circle. So Moody now, all three of them committing in to try and kill Lampalot here. And they should know from the kill feed that Zenith is here as well.
So with this Pat Caps being a little bit more aggressive, they can see the vehicles. They have to assume that maybe something's been going on right here. If they've been paying attention.
Oh, no,
Pat steps around, was not expecting it, so Roth gets an easy down and flush onto it. So Moody, Pride, looking back over towards the other members of Zenith. Patron's still playing on the outside of this, trying to get a little bit more, a little bit better of a sight line, but has to be very cautious. There could be a couple of third parties that come through. Keep in mind, the circle has popped. This is not inside the safe zone for any of these team members. They're going to need to either win this or separate, and another member of Envy has been dropped. Now Pride is just looking back over onto this angle. Patron's going to push forward in just a second, maybe going for the flush, but I don't know if Pride has the sight line to get anything off of it. He's just waiting to see what is Zenith going to do. And if they walk by those windows, it could be rough for him. There you go. First spray back over towards Walt Jr. Gets a connecting shot on a follow it up. Now it is a 1v1, and it's a peak battle through that window and the doorway. And it looks like Roth doesn't want to have anything to do with what is happening right now.
I mean, Roth there, he had a good opportunity to re-peek that. Pride, great awareness to check the window. Does get the flush onto Patron as well. So Roth now solo situation. Pride's hit the prone. He's trying to get his first aid off, and now Roth is going to be taking damage from the blue.
I like this from Roth. He's kind of circled around, moved to the other angle, but Pride knows where he's at. Roth hits the shots, and Zenith does manage to survive for now, but you can see that blue is starting to tick. Trying to make sure he gets the meds off, and now he has a quest in front of him to make it to the safe zone.
A little bit. I mean, we actually missed this. I saw this on the map. Finna actually come in. We did see him 2 kilometers out of the circle, send it all the way on the south side, and manages to get. Look at the position he's got himself into in the circle now. I think he had a 2-seater bike wrapped on the beach, but we jump back. Actually, we've got Lazarus getting 2 up and knocks onto a wild card here.
They were playing down in that little safety dip there and kind of regretting it, but Adam gets a nice spray onto the other side of this. Lazarus very quickly responds, just drops down to their bellies, trying to feed over a little bit more information. Looks like Pentalo might be trying to go for a res back on that angle, but Uncivil's just trying to spot out anybody from that position and going to just retreat back, be a little bit more safe from it. I mean, they hit some great introductory knocks onto this, and they have the inside track onto it. It's going to be a wild card that has to move in.
Genesis actually looking to come up and third party this. We can see Kurt is split off down to the south there, and you can see already Nerf and K-Mon getting the knock onto Kurt here. Lazarus now in big trouble, really, because Wildcard and Genesis can hold them out.
Well, Genesis doesn't look like they're going to be too much more aggressive from that point. They might just be happy with getting down. I want to say that, but K-Mine's just still playing the backside of that ridge right now. They've heard the skirmish, but I don't think that they have the information to know how to push into it. So that's kind of what they're waiting for, it feels like. They're very comfortable getting that one, but now Wildcard, though, has to be very scattered. You can see separated out, playing right along the edge of the blue, and they have Lazarus holding off 1 point for him. The shots are going to come through, and that could be Genesis' opening to try to move on this.
Well, this is the thing. Lazarus pulling back to the warehouse here, forces Wildcard to come onto the road, use this ridge, which Genesis would be able to get sidelines on if they pushed up a bit further, but it looks like K-Mon and Nerf are holding.
Adam is trying to peek up that hillside. Uncivilized is just holding this. Does he have any grenades to work with? No, it's just going to be
There's
sprayed.
3 of them.
Look at how many people are just stacked.
Oh my
All
God.
4. He's waiting for the shots. Introductory.
Oh my God.
That's 1 and 2. He gets a little bit more space for his team. Alo's trying to make the push off to the side of this, as well as Luke. The spray's going back over towards Pistol. Look at that. That's a nice spray coming out from him. Now, where's the last member? It's going to be Luke looking back onto this. Both teams have taken a lot of casualties for it. Now, a little bit more aggression coming up from Pistola. Goes for the peek back over towards Luke. Luke takes a lot of damage, but it's going to be K-Mine that gets the third party, and that's going to be Wildcard eliminated. And now Genesis stepping up. They saw the shots. Are they going to go after Luke?
They can clean up all these kills right now. Luke is the last one up. Alo's still bleeding out. I think it's their first downs as well. So if Genesis peak this ridge, they get an extra 2 kill points for free. Luke's bailing.
Yeah, he's just trying to make it to that top part of the safe zone, seeing if he can get a little bit more space. And here you go. Genesis is walking forward, and they're just going to see 2 free points sitting on the other side of this ridge, just waiting to be mopped up. And Luke's found himself a nice little cubby. I don't think that he has a helmet anymore from that skirmish, so Luke's in a little bit of trouble from this point. And
I think Alo and Civ are just trying to hide behind the tractor or whatever it is.
I think that they're looking around like, you can see like Genesis like,
there you go,
everybody at? Okay, they spot out 1, going for the second one. Meanwhile, you can see Ghost is making a push back over towards Loki and the picture-in-picture down there, as well as Tempo Storm and E United getting into a fight. This is just, it's too small of a circle for the amount of players we got up right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised that United managed to find their way into the circle, but Tempo looking like they want to get aggressive onto this Balefrost, peeking onto this ridge, getting some decent damage down.
All right, so Balefrost, Stab, last 2 members up for E United. Looking back over towards Tempo Storm. Balefrost kind of very close to Tempo Storm at the time.
As well.
Loki's kind of creeping up back behind them as this goes. Balefrost is taking a lot of damage, does go down. Now it is just Stab, but there are 2 members of Tempo Storm up and active right now. Loki is just slowly creeping up back behind this. They see the smoke. They have to know. Nade's going to come up, but no, it's going to go back over towards a dead body right now, but that is going to reveal that maybe somebody else is coming into this. Tempo Storm should be aware of that. We'll turn back around and see who's encroaching on their territory.
I mean, Loki, great awareness to come in on this side. Good timing as well for it. Fignaldo hitting the prone, probably looking for an AK spray there, but Chuba taking some damage from VZ, from Riot Squad from afar.
And that's just going to be Riot Squad doing Riot Squad things, just joining in on the fight. So now 2 members of Loki pushing back up behind the 2 members of Tempo Storm, and Stab, the last remaining member from E United, just trying to stay ahead of it all, making their way over to the last member of Vanquish, which is Vinna.
I mean, this east side of the circle here, Stab actually looking like he's going to try and get a peek onto Sharky and Zampa, but Loki opting to wrap round to the north side. This compound actually to the north is open, so I like the decision making, but I would have wanted to see them trying to capitalize on these kill points.
A lot of these teams are stacked up right on top of each other. The moment anybody takes any shots, it's going to reveal a position, and we could see a lot of third parties come into play. Riot Squad feeling very confident in their control of their territory right now. Wouldn't be surprised if we see them get a little bit more aggressive if they hear anything happening, but Tempo Storm is pushing right up to Stab, the last member for E United, based off the shots coming up from Riot Squad, but Luke somehow has managed to avoid everybody from Genesis as Stab does go down.
I mean, actually, this one, and actually, yeah, we see now Loki putting some pressure onto Tempo Storm. Riot Squad looking like they're trying to get aggressive to the south as well, so right now, Sharky and Zampa need to pick a team fight, because ultimately, further into the circle, last member of Vanquish is Finna. He's up in the shack, so he's not posing a threat right now, but you can see they're already trying to bail and just come into the circle.
We've seen the circle quite a few times inside the NPL. Everybody should be familiar. There's a lot of planes that's inside. The hills kind of crest back down, and it makes for kind of this Death Valley situation as people kind of rotate through here. Space Station Gaming trying to stay alive as they make the push over towards the safe zone, but it's going to be Rumblers that are just kind of peppering in a couple of shots, getting some damage onto Hetchor. He just narrowly makes it over the top of that hill, but Space Station Gaming does survive. But they still have about 200 meters to make it to the safe.
They've got a lot of ground to cover. I want to see them come down to a bit further to the south, but the unfortunate thing is the last 2 members from Sonics, Keenan and Tony V, are set up on the south side of the circle. So SSG with a big field that's open with not a lot of cover to cross into to get into the circle.
This doesn't feel like Riot Squad to me. This is a very passive play that's happening inside of this. They've been hearing a lot of fights that are next to them. I mean, they can see smokes over here. They have to have a rough idea on something that's been going on, but they're just very comfortable to hold this location. And it feels very different. Well, I don't know. If they're getting a crate back behind them, that might explain why. But you can see Sonic's taking a couple of shots at Space Station Gaming as Keenan's in an aggressive spot. Tries to go for the spray back over towards Space Station Gaming. Does get J-Sank down.
Hetchor's down to 1 HP as well.
Gotta be careful, and there you go. Space Station Gaming does get wiped out. But Endemic and Rumblers both heard that fight, and look, tons of presence. And Finna, you don't want to go for those. That would be a bad call. But Genesis also does spot those and says, hey, we can see a potential trap here.
Luke finally getting shut down there, but actually H1 going to get a knock onto VZ, being a bit greedy going for this crate here, but Genesis is already up to 9 kills.
Just gonna say, remember greed kills, people, especially every single time you get to one of those late game circles, 20-something people alive.
And you know they're all staring at the crate as well.
And look at the third party coming in from all these different angles. Genesis is just trying to destroy Riot Squad from range, which is just gonna open up more and more space for those, like the solo and the duo that's back down there.
I mean, there's actually 2 crates down on this southeast corner, so I mean, if Riot Squad can kind of regroup here, get some utility usage, they can get the equipment from these crates. But it looks like
they got the res off. They got the res off, still 4-man strong. They got a couple of shots coming out from Sonics over there, but nice damage control coming up from Riot Squad. Genesis still holding that high ground, and like you said, 9 kills. This is starting to feel like they're getting more control over the entirety of the circle from this position.
I think right now, if they try and push a bit further down to the southwest, they should have open line of sight onto Rumblers. You can see H-Win scoping in. He knows something's going on down here because of the smokes. They've got smokes down to try and res Lost. So, I mean, they have a great opportunity. If they regroup here on this side, they have a ridge to play that can hold this road. Effectively defending Endemic, actually.
So Genesis moving back over towards Endemic and towards Rumblers.
Oh my
Everybody
God.
out
Oh
in the
my
open.
God.
Trigger discipline comes in and they finally decide to pull that trigger, and that's gonna be 1 member down. A lot of damage back onto several others, and this could be a very long range grenade as it's all the way downhill. Bounces could come out, but they're gonna fall just a touch short, but that stops Rumblers dead in their tracks, and they are not inside the safe zone. They're gonna have to make a push sooner or later.
No, I love the decision making there to take a full-on team shoot. Actually, wow, Zampa pushing over onto Riot Squad here. Does get the opening lock onto Mystery.
So now again, Zampa holding it back over there. That's a lot of damage back over towards Riot Squad. Only 2 members of Tempo Storm, but they can bring it whenever they need to. Looking back over there, gonna go ahead and get another flush back onto him. Leda is just down on his belly inside these smokes, slowly creeping forward. Protege's down, VZ's out. He is the last member of Riot Squad. They just crested that hill and it went wrong. But Endemic something takes down Sharky, turning this into a 1v1 right now.
There was a double third party there. Keenan getting a knock onto Riot Squad and also Endemic getting a knock onto Tempo Storm. So both of these teams being held out of the edge here. Genesis still trying to look to get these kill points onto Rumblers.
And they do connect with Microfry. Cherry Poppins did get rezzed, but he's going to have a difficult push up ahead of him. It's only about 10 meters, but it is a hellacious 10 meters to have to cross as Endemic and Genesis are both looking back down towards him.
Later again, he got the grenade knock onto Sharky. Zampa forced to stick the first aid kit. Later's going to push up for the kill.
Goes up, steps up, goes for the flush, actually peeks back down the hillside as Zampa goes for the spray. There is a Molotov in there that's slowing down Zampa. The spray is back and forth through the smokes, but it's going to be Tony V that takes down Leda and opens up more space for Zampa, but that's exactly where we just saw somebody die. Zampa has to be very cautious.
I mean, he's going to have the benefit of that smoke staying up. Rumbler's actually pushing all the way into Endemic's compound now. Lost somehow managing to get all the way through. Gets found by Reload, so it just leaves Cherry Poppins up on the west side. I'm not sure how Lost managed to get that far into the compound without Endemic doing something about it.
Cherry Poppins just trying to survive right now, just death gripping these doors. As you can see, Endemic is just throwing everything they have at him. Oh, the Molotov's coming through. It's doing a lot of damage, and there's not a lot of places to go. Is he just trying to med through it right now?
He's trying to stick a med.
He can't move away from it because he's just going to try to survive through it. The med does come through. He's still got the other Molotov back behind him, though. They're following up with more grenades going through there, and finally, Cherry Poppins, the raid boss, goes down. How much health did he have? I think he took like 500 damage right there.
Yeah, and actually, Genesis straight away coming in here. K-Mind up to 7 kills now. Genesis identifying there was a fight going on this compound. They wanted to chase Rumblers down, but they now know that they have Endemic boxed into these buildings.
I just can't get over the fact that Finna is still alive. That's what's killing me more than anything else.
Sometimes you gotta send it.
And whenever you send it, it pays off, apparently. So Genesis still holding down that high ground, looking back down towards Endemic. These are our strong squads. There is 1 member from Sonics, that's Tony V, 1 member from Vanquish, Finna, and the last member of Tempo Storm, Zampa, alive. But they are all clinging to life right on the safe edge of that circle.
I think K-Mind, he keeps looking at the shack, but I'm not sure if he's seen a foot or something sticking out from the edge, but Zampa now having to cross out in the open. You can see Nerf taking some shots over towards him. I think he might be able to find a spot here if he can get to the hay bale. Also, the tractor out in the
If Finna doesn't take
here.
shots at him, that's the problem, because Finna is back behind him.
Finna's moving now as well.
Having to move, so with this, Zampa does manage to make it back over the tractor. You can see, really, it's the skirmish between Genesis and Endemic that's allowing these solos to kind of cross this open field and get to a position.
If Genesis can clean this up, you can actually see Finna managed to see where Zampa stopped. If Genesis can clean this team fight up, though, they're going to be able to hold on to the high ground here.
The cook
Finna's
could be
throwing a
good.
nade over.
It's got to bounce a little bit too far. He narrowly survives that. Nobody really doing anything after afterwards. Endemic gets it down onto Nerf as they push down through this. You can see everybody on Genesis is kind of looking off into the hill, seeing if maybe they can get it down on any of these solos, but Endemic is just holding down in this complex.
And actually, Tony from way deep in the blue, he's putting some pressure onto Genesis. Adrian has to hit a prone, stick a first aid kit inside the smoke. K-Mine now also in a position where Finna does actually find Zampa.
Gets his one kill to capitalize off of it, but now Genesis making their way down. Two members running straight through. H-Man does get dropped off of it. The 4 members of Endemic just have too many guns to throw that direction. Now K-Mine up at the top of the hill. On the outside of this, we still have Finna. We still have Tony V. Finna does get a knock back over towards Wolf.
That's huge for K-Mine as well.
That is big. That buys a little bit more time and space, but now the solos are starting to fight each other as Finna wants to go after K-Mine. The smokes are down, and it looks like he wants to take over Zampa's location and has to be very cautious. K-Mine runs through the grenade back down straight into Endemic, but he does get dropped. The res comes out from Endemic back up to 4 members, so there are 2 solos out in the middle of all of these fields and 4 members of Endemic that are going to have to push into them.
I mean, nobody's actually had eyes on Tony V right now. You can see him throwing nades towards Endemic smokes as they come out of the compound. That one might actually do, it did a lot of damage to Wolf there. Tony V gets shut down, so Finna now in a 1v4 situation. Endemic manages to close that one out with 8 kills.
Nice, solid defense. They didn't have to move a lot towards those in-game circles, but you can see that there was a lot of people that was trying to take it away from him. And a lot of very interesting pushes. I would say a very aggressive Genesis coming inside that round, but also a little bit more, I guess, control coming out from Endemic in these late game circles, getting to points where they have good sight lines to get the kills that they so desperately need.
I mean, we saw them effectively toss away a win earlier today, but managing to capitalize on the circle luck that they had there. They did get a couple of favorable shifts, but also picking up a decent kill.